Is everything we see just a surface? BTS's Jungkook apparently keeps a secret that even the army of millions have not realized for years. Who would have thought that, behind every debut that shook the world, there was one figure who was secretly always present, and one priceless gift that he always gave? Why has Jungkook kept this a secret all this time? And why does the army know about it now? Millions of army shocked. Jungkook secretly did this to his mother from the beginning of his debut. Do you really know Jungkook? That's the question that suddenly shook the army community around the world after a rare and long, forgotten footage resurfaced on social media showing a moment that once seemed ordinary, but now carries a much deeper meaning. A moment that opens the door to a secret that has been closely guarded for more than a decade by a child who not only grew up to be a world idol, but also a son who secretly dedicated his entire life to one woman, his mother. For years, ARMY was fascinated by Jungkook's stage performances. Every debut, every concept, every new work launched, everything always reflects incredible dedication, tireless hard work, and emotions that seem to flow infinitely from every movement and glance of his eyes. But one thing that millions of fans around the world have recently realized is that behind it all, there is an invisible pattern. A pattern that is now beginning to unravel after an audio recording that was accidentally leaked behind the scenes of BTS's old training event began to be discussed. "Mommy would love this." The murmur, believed to be Jungkook's voice, was captured on camera as he gazed at his debut performance outfit. One short sentence. But now, that sentence shook the emotional foundations of the army. Is it true? All this time, Jungkook slipped a hidden meaning in every debut for his mother. What makes all this even more surprising is the fact that none of the official interviews, behind-the-scenes content, or vlogs explicitly mention that his mother was present at any of Jungkook's important moments. However, as fans began piecing together small pieces from the past, the same silhouette of a woman in the backstage crowd, the white flowers that always appear in the prep room, to the tiny bracelet that Jungkook only wears on debuts and comebacks, it all began to form an electrifying big picture. His mother was always there, and Jungkook, the golden meanie, never talked about that. Why? Is that a form of protection? Or is it because it's too personal to share? These questions set off an emotional wave on social media. Many soldiers feel guilty for focusing on Jungkook as an idol, not realizing that every step he takes, every beam of light that hits his face on stage, is dedicated to someone behind the scenes, his mother. "I want him to know that I never forget where I came from," Jungkook said in an old snippet of the interview that has now gone viral again. That interview used to just sound like the standard phrase of a young idol. But today, it feels like a knife slicing slowly, because now we know how profound it was for Jungkook. More surprisingly, based on an emotional investigation conducted by some of the fanbase and ARMY are very meticulous, it was found that in every debut Jungkook, be it as part of BTS or solo project, there is always the same item. A small piece of cloth that seems to be ordinary, but if you look closely, there is a fine embroidery that reads "Amata Iyama Sarangyo," which means, "Mom, I love you." There is never a direct mention of this fabric. Never photographed. Never used as a symbol. But when the cloth was found in various debut photos, hanging behind the dressing room door, or on the inside of a performance suit that could only be seen when Jungkook performed certain dance moves, they realized it was a form of silent communication Jungkook had with his mother. Why hide? What happened in the past between Jungkook and his mother that Jungkook felt compelled to convey his love in secret like that? This is where the mystery deepens. In an unofficial documentary released by fans, it is told that Jungkook's teenage years were not easy. His mother worked 2 to 3 jobs to make sure her son could pursue his dream as a singer. And when Jungkook passed Big Hit's audition, he was the first to cry, not out of pride, but out of fear. Fear of losing your child to a harsh, spotlight-filled world. And it turned out, Jungkook knows. He knew his mother hid the fear behind a proud smile. From that moment on, he vowed, "Every step of the way, I will make her feel safe. Even if the world doesn't know, I do. And I will always make my debut for him." A promise that Jungkook holds to this day. How come we didn't see this earlier? Each of her debut songs contains hidden lyrics that, when looked at more closely, always point to a maternal figure. The lyrics are about a safe place, about someone who is the first light, about someone who never leaves even though the world changes. ARMY has now flooded Twitter and Weverse with analysis of the songs, as if opening a new chapter in Jungkook's musical journey that has been covered in a fog of inexpressible emotion, and that priceless gift, not just a career, not just songs, but his own life, that on his mother's birthday every year, Jungkook is known to postpone his personal celebrations. He will only celebrate if he manages to write a new song to send secretly to his mother. The songs were never released to the public. But recently, an audio clip leaked from the now-retired Big Hit staff's old drive contains Jungkook singing a soft song, with no beat, just his piano and vocals, with lyrics that make anyone who hears them will shed a tear. If I could choose again, I would still be born as your son. The song was never meant for the ARMY. It's only for one person. But now, after all is exposed, ARMY began to realize they have witnessed true love, which has been disguised in a magnificent stage, and the cheers of the audience point one question now hangs over and shakes everyone's hearts. How could a young man keep such a big love and keep it a secret from the rest of the world all these years? And one sentence began to circulate among the fandom, becoming a motto that is now viral on various platforms. She didn't just belong to the stage, she belonged to a mother who she never left despite all eyes on her. Are we ready to see Jungkook not just as an idol, but as a son who loves his mother more than anything in the world? Or, we already know, but not sensitive enough to see it. This story is not the end. This is the beginning of a new way of looking at Jungkook. As someone who not only lit up the stage with talent and hard work, but also lit up her mother's life, with a silent love that is now finally realized by the world. And one more thing. What will Jungkook do after this secret is revealed? Is it going to open up, or is it going to close down? The ARMY is waiting. But one thing is certain. Every Jungkook debut, right from the start, it was a love letter secretly sent to his mother. And we all just read it. When one looks back on Jungkook's 2013 debut with BTS with No More Dream, few realize that the 15-year old who looks excited, energized, and ready to rock the world was actually struggling to hide his emotional tremors. In a pre-debut documentary, Jungkook was captured sitting alone in a corner of the rehearsal room, staring at a small photograph of what was later revealed to be his young mother. None of the staff noticed the moment. But now, when the tape is rediscovered by the ARMY, they begin to realize that behind his fiery debut, Jungkook started everything with a much deeper intention than just being an idol. "I don't want to be just famous," he says on an audio recording taken by the trainee documentation staff. "I wanted to make something that would make my mom say, 'That's my son.'" And he did. Not once, but many times in every major BTS debut, whether it's a regular comeback or a special project, there are small patterns that are only now beginning to unfold. For example, in the debut Dope, where Jungkook is wearing a police uniform, it turns out that on the back of his suit there is a small embroidery that even the camera cannot catch, the initials of his mother's name in Hangul letters. In Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Jungkook wears a small silver ring on his right hand, which is now known to be his first gift to his mother when he gets the first honor for his hard work. She always wore it, but only at the debut show. Only in the sacred initial moment. As if it was a symbol that he never forgets who he fought for. Then the question arises, why is this only now being exposed? Why have these 12 years of love been so perfectly hidden? And why is it that, after the digital age has wiped out every second of Idol's life, not a single media outlet, not a single journalist, not a single ARMY, is aware that Jungkook's every debut is actually a love ritual performed secretly? His answer made the heart of anyone who read it tremble, because Jungkook didn't want his mother to be burdened. In an old, almost forgotten interview quote, Jungkook said in a low voice, "I want to make my mother happy, but not by making her known. I want her to be happy secretly." Tears began to fill the comment space on various social platforms. From Twitter, TikTok, to Weverse, thousands of ARMY began to share their own moments with their respective mothers. Some even say that Jungkook has helped them realize the importance of the child-mother relationship that has been neglected in the midst of the hustle and bustle of life. "I hug my mom today because of Jungkook," wrote a fan from the Philippines. "I just realized how many things he had done without ever asking me to know, just like Jungkook did." And when all this happened, the army doesn't know the answer. But one thing is certain, Jungkook doesn't need a big stage to love. He just needs a little space in his heart and someone to see him, even without a voice. And in the midst of a fast-paced world, this story reminds us that the greatest love doesn't always sound the loudest. Sometimes, that love hides behind stage costumes, behind the shoes that have been worn since the debut, behind the smile thrown at the camera, but actually addressed to someone watching from home. Have we worshipped the stars for too long, forgetting that even the stars have a home? The world is crying together, not because of loss, but because eventually they found out that every Jungkook debut is the most beautiful form of the most honest love ever, and that Priceless, a teenage boy, packed his small suitcase. He didn't bring much, just a few pieces of clothing, training shoes, and a picture frame of a soft-faced woman smiling at the camera. No writing, no sound. But from the way he wrapped the frame in a warm cloth and put it topmost in the suitcase, we know it was the most precious thing to him. Jungkook leaves home for Seoul with one belief, that he will make his mother happy someday. However, who would have thought that the day would come sooner than anyone thought? That night, as the camera zoomed in on Jungkook's innocent but feisty face, none of the army knew that among the audience in the small studio, there was a woman standing at the back, trying to hold back her tears. It went unnoticed by the media. He stood without identification. He even refused to sit on the family bench. Jungkook, who was still a teenager at that time, glanced at the back row, and the smile on his face was a smile that ARMY had never seen on stage. A smile that is too personal, too full of flavor, too home. After the show was over, he did not immediately go backstage with the other members. Jungkook sneaks into the audience. And there, without saying much, he handed his mother a small object, a pair of small earrings of green jade. He bought it from the rest of his trainee money, which was only enough to eat ramen for a week. It's not expensive, but it's the first of your children. He never said those words in the media, but it was written on a small piece of paper that he put in the earring box. And since that night, whenever BTS makes a big debut or comeback, his mother is always present. But always at the back, never performed, never flaunted his status. It comes as a shadow of love, not a spotlight of the world. And Jungkook? It makes him the center of the universe in silence. BTS finally began its rise with I Need You. Many praised Jungkook's visuals and choreography. However, of all the properties in her MV and stage performance, only one thing is consistent: a small woven bracelet of red color. That time, the media thought it was just a stylist accessory. But now, a former staff stylist confirmed that the bracelet was made by Jungkook himself, made from wool yarn that he bought when he returned home to Busan. And he did it with his mother. One for him, one for his mother. Do you wear it because of fashion? No, he wore it because it was his promise. Promise that he will continue to walk without forgetting his origin. Every debut, the bracelet returns. Sometimes visible, sometimes hidden under long sleeves. But now the army knows. It's no coincidence. BTS's MV and stage for the Blood, Sweat, and Tears era were filled with symbolism. But the large painting in the background of the music video, widely speculated to be a Western classic, was handpicked by Jungkook. Why? Because the painting is a replica of his mother's favorite work when he was young. A Renaissance painting, The Lamentation, depicts the grief, but also the strength of a mother. You can use anything, Jungkook told the art director at the time, but please let me choose one part of the setting. For someone,